All right, so one more quick thing I'm doing to this that I didn't talk about before. One kind of a downfall with the Samurai is when you start playing with the front suspension, with lift kits and whatever, it's not real easy to center the steering wheel. I was real careful when I drove this up my driveway and into the garage. This is about where the steering wheel is sitting when the truck's going straight. Really the only way of fixing this is to pull the steering wheel off of the column and rotate it and put it back on, which has a limited resolution or whatever you want to call it, because the end of the shaft is splined where the steering wheel goes on. So you've only got certain positions, and so you might not be able to get it perfect. And driving like this with the steering wheel off makes your turn signal canceling not work, and it's just really annoying. So I want to show relatively cheap and nice fix for this. And the reason that it's not adjustable is the only adjustment under the car in the front end is this coupler right here, which is for your toe. And this can even cause trouble if your toe is way off due to, a damaged housing or whatever. You can get your toe right, but your steering wheel is based on this side right there where the drag link attaches. And the drag link, as you can see, is the fixed piece. There's no adjuster in it. So in one of his last off-road trips, he bent his original tie rod, and so we put a new used set on it. And so what I'm going to do is cut up his old steering set and build an adjustable drag link. I've already started working on this. So this is the pieces laid back together kind of as they would be. And so you basically cut this end off. There's a ridge right here. You want to cut it off. This is the piece you're saving. So you want the ridge to be on the discarded side. And then you cut the tie rod, and you're going to remove this double joint side. And basically what I'm going to do is sand on this until this fits and shove this all the way inside. So I'll end up, I still got to do some more trimming, but basically end up with a heavier duty drag link that's adjustable. So it'll be, this is roughly, I think about between 3/4 and 7/8 of an inch in diameter. And then we're going to be putting this around the outside of it. So it's going to beef it up. The downside for me is this is the piece that's bent. So I've got to try to get that as straight as I can and then beat this guy in place. And I'll drill a handful of holes in this tube so I can plug weld it, and then I'll weld around the end as well. And then that'll give, so this will be the adjustment to center your steering wheel. So you want to make sure you get in the wheel, disconnect this, count your turns. It's roughly a 4-turn total box. So from the center position, 2 full turns to the left, and then it can travel 2 full turns from the center to the right. So you want to get your steering wheel centered in the steering box travel, and then get your pitman arm in a center position, and then build this to fit that length, and then you'll have this adjustment to fine tune it. Pretty nice setup. Oh, and another cool thing is with the original drag link, they're pretty expensive because if this joint goes bad, you've got to buy this whole thing. It's all one piece. And now, if that joint were to go bad, it's just this one replaceable joint that threads into about here. This is a lot cheaper than the full drag link. And this end, never has to be changed because this is just a tapered socket that goes on to the original tie rod. So I'm going to get this all finished up, cleaned up and painted, and then I'll show it once it's installed. Okay, so one quick thing, I originally showed cutting the drag link here. It's actually got to be cut I'm not directly sure how far this piece is in, but this piece has got to be cut a lot farther down, somewhere in this area. I'm going to stick something skinny down here to measure and find the end of this solid piece that's threaded, because that's slid in a couple inches, I'm sure, and I want this guy to basically meet it. So I'll get a better measurement of this once I have that figured out and cut. Okay, so what I did is I took a whole bunch of my 1/4" drive extensions and slid them down, slide them down to the hit, and then put my thumb on the end and pull it out and lay it on top. And that's about how far this piece is inserted in that tubing. So I'm going to cut this off here, but I'm going to go that way, about 1/8 of an inch, just for safety's sake. Yeah. Okay, so I didn't film too much, but that's it welded together. Now, you can see, so this is the original tie rod adjuster for the toe. And now there's a second one up here right off the pitman arm to set the steering box in the center position and the steering wheel. So now both rods are the same diameter because they're both that larger tubing. And usually, well, it kind of depends on ride height, but a lot of times the drag link is the first thing to take an impact because it's out front. It's sitting kind of high here because this is being supported by the frame, so the suspension is at full droop. But that's it, it's pretty simple. This one was kind of a challenge because that the original tie rod, or the tie rod that I cut up, was bent, and so that was really tight getting that end slid in there because it's full length. So if you do this yourself, I recommend making sure your tie rod is straight. The amount of time I spent fighting with it, I probably could have cut that tubing off and done a new piece of tubing. But anyway, it's together. And basically it was a no cost job because it was used, it was made from old parts. So, pretty cool setup. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.